when people do that thing, it's always like when people go, and it always drives me nuts. They go, yeah, I know, CNN, they got their agenda, but hey, you know, Fox got an agenda too. Fox, you know, they're both doing their thing. I go, okay, let's check their batting average on COVID. Because CNN fucking lied about everything and was wrong about everything. And Fox was right about everything.
Yep.
And CNN was wrong about it. Should we go with Hunter Biden's laptop? Should we go with Joe Biden being senile? Let's pick a subject and we'll figure out who's... Well, they're both saying something different. And they both have an agenda. But one side is wrong all the time and lying. And the other side has a much higher batting average. And so you can go... People do that, you know, Republican, Democrat, they're all bad. The Democrats are batshit crazy. Right. You couldn't have said this during Bill Clinton's time, but now you can. And so you go, I don't like this whataboutism. Like they're both. Right. One side is pushing hard for transgender kids,
right,
and wants to overregulate and tax your fucking life. And once Elon Musk dead, and basically, and the other side wants lower taxes, and they want to own guns, and they want the government to leave them alone.
And like more police on the streets.
Yes. Fuck you with all this shit, and I don't want my kid getting trans, and I don't want trans story hour at the local library. No, one side is not clinically insane.
Right.
They have their foibles. You may disagree with Iran or certain policies or foreign policy, but they're not batshit fucking crazy and ruining everything at the same time. The right did not ruin Los Angeles and California. The right didn't ruin Seattle. It didn't ruin Chicago. It didn't ruin Portland. The right didn't ruin anything. The left ruined shit. So stop being so magnanimous and I'm against all politicians. Yeah. No,
they're all corrupt.
Defund the police is a shit idea
from the left
that gets people killed.
From Democrats.
Fund the police is a good idea that saves more lives. And abolish ICE is a batshit crazy idea too, and rounding up criminal felons is a good idea.
So, guys, welcome back. We we have a lot to get into today. So, Trump was right. We're gonna, essentially tell you what he was right about, because these days he's been right about most things. Let's keep going with the stories that we're covering. We're looking at, we're trying to cover everything, even though tonight the theme will lean heavily towards immigration based on what we've been seeing coming out of Europe. I was hoping to avoid it, but my feed essentially tells me a different story. Now, guys, gardening, I see you in the chat. Intergalactic, I see you in the chat. If you're watching for the first time, please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. Let's get into it.
What about the sloganeering about proud to be an American?
Okay, what about this idea? Are you proud to be an American? Extremely or very proud to be an American? Growing divide in January of 2001. 90% of Republicans, 85% of Democrats. This was after a very contentious 2000 election, keep in mind, right? With George W. Bush coming into the White House. You come over to this side of the screen in 2026. Look at this. Again, the Democratic percentage absolutely plummets to just 29% of Democrats say they're extremely or very proud to be an American. That Republican percentage, the exact same, 90 and 90. The Democratic percentage, what is that? That's basically a third of the level that it was just 25 years ago.
I think you're right to point out that this was a time when Democrats might have been feeling badly about the course of the country. Still, 85% said they were proud to be American. Something's changed.
So is it accurate to say that the Democrat Party hates America? Let me know in the chat. All right.
Support ripping families apart.
Do you support abortion?
These are Democrats, okay?
Yeah, ripping families apart, literally ripping children out of their mother's womb.
Logic, and that's why you don't support abortion, then you should not support ICE ripping families apart. If that's your logic.
No.
That's going to be your
logic.
What's
abortion doing? What's abortion? Ripping children from their rightful place in their mother's womb. What's ICE doing? Sending people back to where they came from and that they shouldn't be in.
ICE is ripping people apart and sending them to countries that they barely know because people can be born here.
Like MS-13 gang members?
I'm not talking about MS-13.
Who are you talking about?
There's gang members and they're committing crimes.
Who are you talking about?
Maybe they should.
Maybe.
But if it's citizens who have not committed...
Did this Democrat voter just say that the MS-13 gang members should commit crimes in America because she just said maybe they should? Okay, did I hear that correctly? Okay, let me know if I heard wrong.
Did any crimes, who have children here, who have grown up here?
Who has been sent away like that?
A lot of people.
Just give me one person.
Yeah.
I can't fucking name names. I don't fucking know.
Because they
don't
don't exist.
Because you guys regurgitate this information you see on TikTok. No one
detained. Why is he still detained? Why is Mahoub Khalil still detained?
Okay.
Why is he still detained?
Why is he detained?
Tell me, what did he do? He was peacefully protesting.
He wasn't peacefully protesting. He was
wasn't.
part of an organization on campuses that shut down buildings and hurt Jewish students.
Oh, what they did to the Jewish students? Let me give me a name. Who had a cut in their head? Give me a name.
Did someone have a cut in their head?
I don't know.
Are you talking?
Are these abortion?
Oh,
are these
okay.
families?
So you're talking about someone literally having cut in their head from Palestinian protesters on a college campus.
Girl, I'm asking what he did.
Literally proving my point.
You know, it's crazy when they fall into the trap they set for themselves. Like they set the trap for conservatives and then they wind up falling into the trap because their arguments are not consistent. Okay, they don't know how to frame consistent arguments because everything is conflated. Oh, what about this random thing that never happened and doesn't exist? Oh, what about this other thing that never happened and doesn't exist? And because you're not for it, you're a bad person. Like that is their strategy. And it never survives the test with reality. Never does. Let's watch this one.
He's a rapist.
Oh. What proof do you have for that?
I mean, the 22 women who came forward, I believe women.
Trump is a racist. Oh, sorry,
No
a rapist
proof, though.
accusation.
But you still believe them?
Yes.
What if I accused him of raping me right now? Would you believe me?
I mean, if you had a good story.
He just raped me. Do you believe me?
It's disrespectful to rape victims.
Which is seriously what happened with the E. Jean Carroll story. And all of them, these people lined up right behind her. Why? Because she's accusing someone they hate of assaulting her. And so it must be true, or it must be okay. Or we really need it to be true to confirm our bias and our hatred for this person.
I think it's disrespectful to believe them when there's no proof, and it's disrespectful towards the man. It's disrespectful towards Trump and Kavanaugh, wasn't it? When there was no proof.
I think there was plenty of proof.
What's some proof that the FBI didn't find that you know about?
I mean, I believe women. She had a good...
He raped me now. Do you believe me?
I think that's horribly disrespectful to rape victims.
Now, they say that because she doesn't have the right politics. They know she doesn't have the right politics. And once she begins to, if she had the right politics and she said that, they would essentially just collapse under their own weight.
Disrespectful to men who get blamed for rape when they didn't do it. Very disrespectful.
Guys?
I think we're done here. Thanks for your time.
Please don't rape me anymore. Do you believe me?
I think that's horribly disrespectful.
All right. Don't rape me anymore, guys. All right.
Guys, these kids on college campuses have been so coached and prepped by their Marxist professors that like they have these. The arguments they have are like chess moves. Okay, if a conservative says this, say that. If they say this, say the other thing. But they're never prepared when conservatives use the same tools that they use against them because it just causes their entire argument to implode on itself. All right, so I'm going to respond to the chat real quick because I saw a correction. Intergalactic Wrangler said, I think she meant MS-13 should be deported. Well, I guess I didn't catch that, and I think you heard her right fine. MS-13 should be deported, but they continue to bunch up illegal aliens who have committed violent crimes in the United States with people who are collateral collateral damage to the ICE raids into residential communities because blue cities refuse to cooperate with ICE and hold them in the jails for ICE to pick them up in the jails. This entire thing has been astroturfed by the Democrat Party to make President Trump look bad. They hate Trump so much that they would put the lives of innocent citizens and legal immigrants in danger. And they're hoping for that, that moment, that photo op that shows, oh, look, Trump is so evil. For example, you're going to hear people repeat the lie that ICE uses children as bait. And what happened in that situation? A father who was being tracked down by ICE abandoned his son out in the cold. Literally abandoned his son. And ICE took this boy, fed him, took care of him, and what did the mainstream media say? ICE held him to use him as bait. These people are just plain evil. All right, let's catch up with the chat real quick. 71% TDS. I'm all caught up. Okay, so you guys, please, let's know what you think in the chat. Let's keep going.
Hard it has been for people. Two things. You talk a lot about your Catholic faith, but the Catholic faith says we take in immigrants. We take in people who don't have or who are having a hard time. How do you justify both things?
So I'm going to answer this in my own way in 1 minute. The Bible teaches that we should be hospitable, that we should host the stranger, and we shouldn't be mean to immigrants in our countries. The Bible doesn't say we should be hospitable to people who come into our countries and commit crimes. The Bible doesn't say that we should create a conducive environment for people who hate us to come into our country. We roll the red carpet out and then they destroy our families, assault our daughters, kill our sons, and we should be fine with it. So they always use Christian faith against people who are conservatives because they think that it makes us shy away and shrink and say, oh, you got us. Oh, you got us. Our holy book says we should be hospitable. So we're going to be stupid and dumb and let criminals come into our country illegally and destroy our country.
So let me say first a couple things, Whoopi. So number one, the book is actually way less political than you might think if you were just watching this, because obviously we're getting into the issues of the day. Right. 95% of the book is really not about politics. I kind of have to write about politics because I'm the vice president, but I want to answer your question. Right. So fundamentally, if you think about what is immigration enforcement, immigration is law enforcement. It's somebody who has broken a law. A law enforcement officer has to show up and enforce that law. Mm-hmm. Now, inherently, sometimes that process is not always going to be pretty if you capture a video clip of it. In the same way that if you arrest somebody for committing a violent or a nonviolent crime, sometimes it's not always pretty. What I'm saying is the Catholic faith is actually I think it strikes the right balance here. Mm-hmm. It says, the Christian faith, I think this is true of Protestants and Catholics, that you can have borders. Yeah. You're allowed to enforce your borders. That means the law enforcement piece of it. But you also have to take certain precautions and certain care, okay? And again, your argument is fundamentally, Whoopi, you're saying that we don't strike the right balance. I disagree with you about how we apply that, but nobody hopefully is saying we're not allowed to have a border. No, what I'm saying is that in order for us to actually enforce the law, you can't set a standard that says you're not allowed to deport anyone unless they've committed a violent crime. You've got to enforce the law equally and justly.
Let me do my follow-up.
You don't have to raise your hand.
So they are there not to have a conversation. They're there to be right. They're there to talk, to essentially push their narrative. And no matter how much JD gives them a common sense response, they're going to get back on the show tomorrow and continue to spew the lies that they've always spewed. Now, we're getting warmer to the crux of our conversation. And guys, I hope you would let me know your thoughts in the chat, because this is a very dark topic we're going to be covering tonight, but we're going to cover some highlights, then talk about this thing that's happening in Europe. Okay, the theme of tonight's show is Trump was right. Okay, Trump was right about this and a few other things. So let's listen to this immigrant who's supposed to be a guest. Guys, if a guest walks into your home and says the things that you're about to hear this guy say, let me know what you would do to this guy if he was a guest in your home.
Why do you want to hear my story? I'm not here to tell a story. I'm here to rule. Fucking rule.
To rule?
I'm here to rule. To rule you, to rule Trump, to rule Elon Musk, to rule Netanyahu, to rule Jews.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. That's
with that attitude.
What a strange thing to say. It's a very poor attitude.
He's acting this way because he knows that he's protected by the government.
Yeah, so you're a guest here, and you're saying you want to rule us.
This is my land.
Is it? Is it? Okay, got it. Okay. Millions and millions of people are our responsibility.
Sorry, say that again.
This is Allah's land. The whole world is... Listen.
UK.
Why do you have so much pride? UK. Listen, and answer me to the question. The whole world...
This guy comes from a country that built nothing, developed nothing. It's a shithole country. They fled their country to come here and say this nonsense. Okay? So, like, it's infuriating for me, but these guys are keeping their composure.
Everything which is in your consciousness is limited, man. This is why you are talking this kind of...
Because they're stupid. He walked... These people walk into your country and say this with no consequences. That's why they think that you're stupid.
The world is a planet. Earth is this man.
It's quite common. Around the UK, it's quite a lot.
So these people do it, huh?
Well, yeah.
It's been reported on.
Yeah.
Fuck the report. Who reported?
The police crime statistics.
There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot.
Police are liars.
Not denying the police.
All right, good.
All right.
That's good, man.
All right, so this goes on and on and on. It's just more insanity. Now, if I'm going to play a portion of this next video because it's an intro to what we're going to be talking about at the later part of the show.
I'm about halfway through the rape gang inquiry, 219 pages exposing Pakistani Muslim men for grooming white British girls as young as 11 to 13 years old and raping them hundreds and hundreds of times. Millions and millions of rapes covered up by the police, the social services, the schools, and when somebody speaks out about it, the parents, their families are threatened and they are thrown into jail. These Muslim men make up 6% of the population in the UK, yet account for 87% of these horrific violent rapes. And yet Keir Starmer is still bringing hundreds of them in every single day. These men are taught to treat white people horribly. They're so racist. So these Islamists, which by the way, Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, are instructed to treat non-Muslims like property, like trash, forcing conversions. Parents realize suddenly that their daughter is wearing a hijab, reading the Quran, not eating bacon, and missing for days on end. And the schools are facilitating this because they're ruining the parent-to-child relationship by indoctrinating their kids, making them believe that this diversity is so beautiful.
Where have we heard that before? America, it's happening already in America.
This LGBTQ stuff in the United States, they're currently saying that kids are homeless when they're not, just so that they can get more government funding, while also shoving all of this LGBTQ stuff down their throat, transitioning kids without their parents realizing these types of things makes young girls more vulnerable to this disgusting insanity. And it's so ridiculous that Keir Starmer, in order to protect children, wants to ban the platforms that are exposing the crap that he's doing.
You know, we've seen them say, essentially, we've seen them blame Elon for people finding out and getting upset. They're not angry about the crimes happening. They're angry that Elon provided a window into the insanity that has been happening in the UK and Europe for years. This is 50 years. Okay, this has been happening for 50 years, and 250,000 British girls have been assaulted by these people.
I have seen nationalities that are not Pakistani men in these gangs. but many of them are Afghanistani or Iranian or Iraqi, but they are still all Muslim. And it is an issue when we see increasing numbers of illegal immigration into the country, where many of those immigrants share the same belief systems and different ways of treating women.
Yeah, so it's look, I have friends who are Muslim, and many of them won't like me talking about this. But the question that I have to ask them is this true? Does your holy book say these things? And if the answer is yes, then we have a problem. Okay? You have a problem. You can't be angry at me for repeating or exposing the thing that your holy book actually teaches, or your teachers and your ministers actually teach. Meanwhile, the EU voted today. The European Union erupts into chants of send them back after voting for mass deportations across the European continent. All right. Will this finally put an end to the madness? I don't think so. I'm sorry to sound black-pilled, but I don't think so, because this is a tool. Mass migration is a tool of suppressing educated, well-informed white people who will keep the globalist agenda from taking root. Let's have a listen to them chanting this. Because they just voted it in. The conservatives are celebrating. The liberals are sad. And then they start the chant. Look, if we had mass migration and it was migration that helped the country, actually helped the country, you didn't have random African or Arab people of Arab descent or African descent, aping, I'm going to take the R out, aping young white girls in Europe, we would not be having this conversation. Every time this conversation is had, people try to deflect and try to make it about race. It's not about race. It's about the fact that an extreme evil has been taking place for 50 years and it's been covered up. Now, we're going to do a deep dive into the grooming gang situation. I talked about it today on a members-only live stream that I had today. And I'll just talk about, we went into it, and I'll be honest with you, it was quite depressing. Okay, it was depressing. I didn't sound as bubbly as I'm sounding now. It was quite depressing. But I think we can talk about it and just, be honest with each other. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cover several news stories, okay, that we need to take a look at, and then we'll talk about this. And guys, don't be quiet. Don't look and not add to the conversation. I would really like to know what you think about this story, because it personally, being a dad, it affected me, in a very to the core of my of my being, because I thought about my daughter, and I felt, if this happened to my daughter, how would I feel? And this has happened to 250,000 British girls. Now, before we jump into that dark corridor, some good news. President Trump has signed the Iran deal at the Palace of Versailles. The agreement was finalized during a dinner hosted by the French President Emmanuel Macron inside the historic palace. Let's watch this. It's just it's him signing the document. So there's a peace deal with Iran. Bombs are supposed to stop flying. Let's hope that, happens. Let's hope that Israel doesn't get bombed or shelled and they retaliate, and then everything starts over, okay? Let's just hope that doesn't happen. So there's a peace deal. It's been signed. Let's see what happens within the next 2 weeks. All right. I'm sure Intergalactic Wrangler will have some words about that peace deal. Meanwhile, in Washington State has this socialist mayor, okay? And she's done what Mamdani has been doing in New York, but Washington State is not New York. So here's what happened. She essentially started pushing socialist policies, and a huge employer just left. Washington State will lose businesses and people as fast as California and New York. Let's listen to this.
Nearly a quarter of businesses are now considering leaving the state. That's according to a report from the Association of Washington Business. It found the state's employers are growing more pessimistic about the direction of the economy and looking to exit the state because of the rising tax burden.
Today, we need to talk about something the media is almost
so essentially, a quarter of the businesses are planning to leave. That is what communist policies does to states. Okay. Now, meanwhile, there's some good news. Okay. The Charlotte, North Carolina high school that painted over a student's tribute to Charlie Kirk called the police on her and then publicly branded the 16-year-old girl a vandal in front of her entire school. Now, that school has just been forced to pay $95,000 to her. Let's watch this.
Your side digging deeper into a new settlement between Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools and the families of 3 students who painted this design on a spirit rock.
You can see it features a quote, "Live like Kirk," with red, white, and blue paint.
Now, the message came just days after Charlie Kirk's death last September.
Now, the district originally called the painting vandalism, but now they're reversing that decision.
WBTV's Dalford Jones breaks down the settlement and speaks with one of the family's attorneys.
This is the Spirit Rock here at Ardrey Kell High School. Now, it basically serves as a billboard for different topics that are important to the students. Today, it honors the school's swim and dive team on a successful season. But you may remember last year in September, it paid tribute to Charlie Kirk after he was shot and killed. The message, "Long Live Kirk," a Bible scripture, and the words "Freedom 1776" were painted on the school Spirit Rock by 3 students after conservative influencer Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
She wanted to memorialize him, and she wanted to express a message of hope and faith, reminding folks that even though he had been killed, because he was a Christian, he had hope for eternal life through Jesus Christ.
CMS originally said the rock was painted without permission and was considered vandalism
Really?
to school property. The parents of one of the 3 students filed a federal lawsuit claiming the district violated their daughter's constitutional rights. Senior counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom, Travis Barham, told us the student did get permission from the school to paint the message on the Spirit Rock.
To do the research, to call ahead, to get permission to paint the rock, and then to find out within hours that your message has been censored, and a day later that you're publicly accused of a crime simply because you painted a rock that students have been painting for decades.
We spoke to people in the Ballantyne area about the case and student expression on campus.
Well, I think the kids need to know that maybe their opinions are okay, and they shouldn't be chastised for whichever opinion they have.
I think that there should be guidelines and what students can and can't do, but they should absolutely be able to express themselves.
On Monday, CMS reversed its stance, saying its original decision was wrong. Barham says as part of the settlement, the district will pay $95,000 in damages and attorney fees, exonerate the student for any alleged wrongdoing, and as we reported last week, implement a new student free speech policy.
This is crazy, okay? But it's good. And I hope that we have more people all over the country who stand up for their rights and get justice for all of the insane smears that are being put against conservatives. Gardening is reminding everyone in the chat, please, feel free to leave a comment. Please like the video and share, okay? Now, concerning the last report on Washington State, Gardening says we have gained so many businesses in Texas. Hope the workers that come with them don't bring their Democrat votes with them. I hope so too. Here's my opinion, and some of you might like it, some of you might not. When someone moves from out of state into a new state, from a different state, they have to wait for 2 years before they can vote in local elections. Okay, that's. I have very controversial thoughts on this because of what we've seen over the last few years. Now, the brown shirts of the Democrat Party are in the news again. You remember the Antifa that the Democrats claimed didn't exist? Mainstream media said didn't exist. Okay, so they're back in the news. And they're being rounded up.
ICE activists are facing new charges in Minnesota. The suspects reportedly have links to Antifa and were aiming to violently oppose federal immigration enforcement. So there are consequences for that, and Garrett Tenney has more. Hi, Garrett.
Yeah, Dana, prosecutors say those 15 individuals are associated with several Antifa-aligned groups. They wanted to see a more violent and militant resistance to ICE in the Twin Cities. The Justice Department says these groups and individuals helped supply, train, and organize members for demonstrations like this one back in January, where a few dozen people were armed with shields and used barricades to block off the entrances to the Whipple Federal Building. In one Facebook post, one of the defendants, Cameron Kennedy, blasted those calling for and insisting on peaceful protests, saying, "I want to make this as clear as I can. You will never win with nonviolence alone. Ever. No one has, no one will. You absolutely need militants to win." But as he was leaving court yesterday, Kennedy insisted he didn't do anything wrong, that he was just trying to stand up for his neighbors, and that these charges are politically motivated.
Yeah.
They arrested us because they're trying to find a larger movement. They're trying to get the rest of Minneapolis.
Oh.
And I think we are just the tip of the iceberg with this. They are definitely trying to come after people more for political reprisal.
Really?
All 15 individuals are charged with conspiring to impede.
You know, it's comedic, okay, to watch these people say that that they didn't do anything wrong when we just saw the thing that they did wrong. Okay? It's baffling. Okay, we watched them in February call for violence. We saw them calling for violence, trying to instigate violence, and then now they're saying we did nothing wrong. We're just, enforcing our free speech rights. You do not threaten federal officers.
Injure a federal officer, and only 2 are accused of actually assaulting an officer.
Yep.
Prosecutors aren't saying if any officers were actually injured in those incidents, but they say the fact that they were calling for violence and organizing violent confrontations easily could have led to that.
You know, guys, there's so much news about the insanity of the whole Antifa situation. Okay, you have these clowns attacking the courthouse and attempting to cause a ruckus, where the hearings are taking place, to essentially arraign these people who were arrested. And these are the peaceful people. These are the reasonable people. These are the people who are defending democracy by attacking federal law enforcement. What happened on January 6th when peaceful protesters took a stroll through the Capitol and were essentially escorted through the Capitol by Capitol Police? The Democrats decided that those people were insurrectionists and then essentially pinned the actions of a fringe few who attacked police outside on the innocents who simply strolled through the Capitol building, assisted by the Capitol Police. Why aren't these people being called insurrectionists? Why aren't they being called insurrectionists? They're attacking a federal building. They're attacking federal agents. They are impeding federal law enforcement. Why aren't they being called insurrectionists? It's a question, okay? So I think that that's a conversation that needs to be had eventually. But Antifa is essentially being rounded up. And you have a school teacher, okay? Yesterday we covered the report of a 19-year-old who was part of a plot to bomb and shoot at attendees who went to the UFC 250 event. And the question was, where do these people get radicalized? This is an 8th grade teacher, Don Trocoli, and union member in Minneapolis public school system, saying, okay, that he is for the Antifa member, that they are his friends. These are his friends. when you have people who educate kids and are connected to radical left-wing groups that call for violence against the federal government, and then in the classrooms, they radicalize kids and tell them that they can step outside of the classroom on May Day to go out to protest. They aren't educating kids anymore. They're radicalizing kids. And they call it education. The Marxists and communists have taken over the educational system. There's no way, okay? There's no way we can see what's going on and not realize that's what's happening. All right. I really don't want to play his video because it's more of the same, but let's just listen for a few seconds.
My name is Stan. I teach 8th grade. I'm a friend to one of the people who's arrested today.
Yep,
and
he's
a
a friend.
member of MFE, a comrade to most of the others who were arrested as well.
Comrade is a communist term. Okay. Guys, I don't say comrade. Comrade is not part of my everyday speech. You have to have been inducted into the Marxist communist mindset to use that word.
We live in a topsy-turvy world. A world where the people at the top who are guilty of the most heinous crimes somehow get away with it. And then teachers who took care of kids
heinous
from the
crimes?
federal government to send it.
Do you know the heinous crimes he's talking about? He's talking about the made-up crimes against Trump, that he's a pedophile, that he's a rapist. That's what he's talking about.
Upon our city to round up people like common criminals as if they were done something wrong besides wanting to come to this country and make a better life for themselves. We took
By breaking into the country, assaulting young girls, killing some of them, breaking into buildings and taking over the buildings like we saw with Trende Aragua I think it was in Portland. Okay? That's how they make a better life for themselves.
time to make sure that those families were taken care of, that they were safe, that their children got whatever education we can make happen under that duress.
And I'm a good person.
This is what we get for it.
What you got for... Look. The people who have been arrested were arrested because they called for violence, called for people to arm themselves and attack federal agents. That's what's going on here, guy.
We did what we could to stand up for our friends and neighbors, and we get arrested and thrown to jail for it, all to protect a pedophile in the White House.
Yeah, exactly. Look, can you take these people seriously? Okay, just let me know in the chat. Can you take these people seriously when they knowingly repeat these lies? All right, so let's move into the dark corridor I told you guys about. We're into the dark corridor. But first, a blast from the past. Do you remember when President Trump had a list of countries and said, okay, we're going to have a travel restriction on these countries? In January 27, 2017, Trump signed an executive order prohibiting travel to the U.S. for 90 days. 90 days. He didn't even say it was permanent. 90 days from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, and Sudan. Democrats, media, celebrities all cried and whined about Trump's racist Muslim ban. They claimed it was an assault on our country when it was actually the complete opposite. Now, here's Chuck Schumer, fresh from his acting classes, talking about it back then in 2017.
This executive order...
He's crying. He's crying.
...was mean-spirited and un-American. It was implemented in a way that created chaos and confusion across the country, and it will only serve to embolden and inspire those around the globe who will do us harm. It must be reversed immediately. Senate Democrats are going to introduce legislation to overturn this and move it as quickly as we can. And I, as your senator from New York, applaud scrap, and fight with every fiber of my being
Someone
until
give me a tissue.
these orders are overturned. This executive
What
order...
a clown. I'm sorry, he's someone's granddad, but he's a clown. Okay? These are countries that routinely are nests of terrorists, people who hate America. Now, Trump did that to protect the country. And then the UK decides that they're going to open up their borders. Now, there's this thing where, so I've talked about it already. We've seen the videos that have preceded this. 250,000 British girls have been aped by Islamists. And Piers Morgan on his show called it a hoax just last month.
It's fine. 250,000 of your women are being raped by Muslim, but it's okay.
Again,
it's fine.
an utterly ridiculous statement.
Go to Birmingham, go to Manchester.
Utterly ridiculous statement.
Go to
As I've said repeatedly, the vast majority of sexual crime against women
that
in
was
the UK.
Lord Malcolm Pearson in Parliament.
Don Keith, the vast majority of sexual crime against women in my country is committed by white men.
So he repeats the lie. Meanwhile, the report has revealed that 87% of them have been committed by these migrants.
Men.
Oh, here we go.
The
You've never heard of per capita.
I have heard of per capita.
It's disproportionately committed by Muslims against white Christian girls because it's a rape genocide.
Right, let me bring genocide.
So they claim that it wasn't happening. All right? They claim it wasn't happening. Now that it's been revealed that it's happening, like I told Gardening this afternoon, I said, I don't want to talk about this tonight. I want to find something else. But the feed was inundated with all of these stories that are connected. Now, after 250,000 girls were aped, and this hag, I'm reading the script on the screen, this hag is laughing about it. I will never understand women like this, so corrupted by suicidal empathy that she's laughing at the atrocities committed against these little girls.
The Rape Gang Inquiry report is out. And I'm going to try not to laugh because it feels mean. I haven't read the whole thing. It's 219 pages. It's only just come out a couple of hours ago.
Gardening she joined the live stream this afternoon, the members only live stream, and I was really upset. I was upset. I'm not British, I'm not white, but 250,000 women, girls, some of them as young as 4 years old. Okay, guys, I'm going to need your help on this, all right? I'm going to need your help on this. Now, why was Trump right? Trump banned all of these countries for 10 months and said, you guys can't come into the country, can't come to the United States. We need to figure out who's who so we know who's coming into the country. He was right to do that. He was right. And you know what? Once the Democrats opened the floodgates, what started happening? We had the Nongores, we had the Laken Rileys, we had the apartment complex takeovers. And then there's this video, okay? Now, this is an exchange between a member of the media and Rupert Lowe, the author of that 250-page report. 219-page report. This is how the establishment media reacted to Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry. They called him a racist. Remember that when you're reading through the atrocities.
I'm telling you that you are
this exchange is crazy.
Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist. I want to talk about grooming gangs. You've launched your own inquiry. Alexis J, who, as you know, spent 7 years on a child abuse probe, says she's very unhappy with the politicisation of child sexual exploitation done, in her words, a very uninformed way. She's talking about you.
Well, she's welcome to her own opinion, as is everybody. I believe.
A bureaucrat who sits on a probe for 7 years and doesn't come up with anything. Attacking someone who, with a far lower budget, comes up with a 219-page report detailing incidents. Okay? The bureaucrat is attacking him. Okay, where have we seen that before?
Even a Britain where everybody should be able to express exactly what they want without any. I don't have any problem. I said she's welcome to her own opinion.
But why is it funny?
But it's not funny. I mean, my driver for the rape gang inquiry is that, having looked into it, and it's something which I think a lot of people in this country probably were blissfully unaware of.
No, I don't think they were. Andrew Norfolk,
that's
who's the Times reporter.
That's your opinion. But I have picked up the mantle, and as you know, I don't call them grooming gangs. I call it Pakistani rape gangs, because 95% of these people are Pakistanis, and very often from a particular
It's called numbers.
That's absolutely not
true. So it is true. It is true. Emily. But anyway,
absolutely not true. Okay, hold on. We're going to come back to this. This man's daughter had been kidnapped and was being abused by a Pakistani ape gang. He tried to rescue her from the property she was being held at. British police arrived and arrested him for trying to save his daughter.
I'd got a phone call to say where Elizabeth was. So I come across, because I lived on next estate, I come across, banged on the door. I saw a movement in curtain. Then, within probably 5 minutes, a police car arrived. They asked me what I was doing. I told them. They arrested me and took me back to where I lived, and then they arrested me. So obviously, I'm sat in house again, and I was getting more and more frustrated. So I come back over to the flat.
An hour later or something, was it?
It was about 20 minutes.
All right.
It seemed within minutes, a van pulled up this time, and I think there were 2 or 3 officers. They arrested me, took me down to the police station.
Now, while all this is happening, his daughter is being assaulted by a gang of Pakistani men. I think this is the second or third time he's attempting to go save his daughter. The police shows up and arrests him.
Took me to police station. They didn't take me to where they usually charge people, and that. They took me straight through into a room near cells. So I'm in there. About half an hour later, they come and got me. Come on, you're going. I went, what do you mean? Just follow me, they said. So I followed them, and they took me through officers and out from...
Okay, so guys, I'm sorry. I grew up on British media in Nigeria. For years, I grew up on British media. I understand him perfectly. Okay, so if you don't understand what he's saying, let me know in the chat so I can give you the subtitles. But I'm doing my best to keep you guys connected to the story.
We police station is, we public going. And they warned me if I come back to the flat, I'd be arrested for stalking. Because stalking laws had just come in then, serious ones. So they were threatening to arrest him for stalking when he's trying to save his daughter. And he's been telling them that his daughter is in trouble and he's trying to get his daughter out. And they arrest him. I think this might be the 3rd time. They let me go.
But what happens if you say, like, my daughter's in there, I want my daughter out? What do they say to you? She isn't in there, or she wants to stay in there, or what do they say to you?
It was what they were saying to me, it was what they were threatening me with.
Threatening.
You know what I mean? They wouldn't answer me questions. Why wouldn't they get her out? Why wouldn't they let me get her out then if they don't want to do it? And I just kept coming back all the time. Look, you're targeting people because of their race. I said, I'm not at all. It's because of what they're doing.
So what they said, he's targeting people because of their race. Not about the girl that's being assaulted multiple times by this point.
Grown men.
So this... God help me. Can someone give her a name? says that there's absolutely no truth to these facts.
From 2023, no, I'm going to tell you this.
Park that.
224 white grooming gang suspects were found compared to 22 Pakistani suspects. Why do you only talk about the Pakistani grooming gangs? That's police statistics from the Times.
I've now got on my...
police statistics from the Times.
If you look...
Police statistics from the Times. The same police that stopped a man from saving his daughter gave you those statistics. Where have we seen people who have been accused of allowing crime to happen turn around and give you crime statistics that claim that crime is down? Where have we seen that before? So they got crime statistics from the people who are essentially running interference for the grooming gangs and claiming that most of the sexual crime is being perpetrated by white people.
My rape gang inquiry, which you asked me about.
No, I didn't. I asked you why you're insisting on politicising child exploitation.
20,000 people have donated about £620,000 now. That shows you the depth of feeling and concern amongst...
And then, now that he mentioned money, watch what she does.
British people.
Doesn't it show you should be ashamed that you are making money off a re-exploitation
I'm not. I've given money.
This
I've given
position?
Money.
Just saying this woman is evil feels like it's an insult to evil people. That's how I feel right now. If there's a word 1,000 times worse than evil, can someone help me find it?
I'm not making money. I've given money to it. I will make absolutely less than zero. I've given a substantial sum to it, as have other people who care.
Why are you doing this? Why are you just trying to talk about Pakistani grooming gangs when there are 4 times, 8 times and 10 times as many white grooming gang suspects?
Do you not think, Emily, there's an issue with Pakistani Muslims raping working class white underage girls? Do you not think there's an issue there?
I think there is an appalling issue with grooming when it hits any community and any age. We only ever hear you talk about Pakistani perpetrators.
Are you telling me there's no issue?
I'm telling you that you are focusing on Pakistani grooming gangs because probably you're racist and you don't believe that there are white perpetrators of the same crime. Can you deny that?
I am concentrating on it because it's a blot on our national history.
Isn't any grooming a blot on our history?
It has not been properly dealt with.
Isn't any grooming a blot on our history? Why don't you talk about anyone else?
My grooming gang inquiry, I have a victim who's working with us. I have a number of people who've been directly involved. And it's underway. And if you're suggesting I'm going to make any money out of it, that is completely wrong.
There are multiple people who have reported being groomed by these grooming gangs. If you don't know what grooming gangs are, they are a pack of men, usually Pakistani in England, who find vulnerable girls, maybe single parents, they're poor, they've already suffered some form of abuse and neglect from their own family. And then they get seduced by these men with gifts. Eventually, they switch over to alcohol, and then they get them hooked on drugs so that they become dependent on these people. Then these men begin to sexually assault them. They essentially, in groups, they sexually assault these girls in groups. And they do it for an extended period of time. Why do they do it for an extended period of time? It is to wear away at the girl's self-worth, so that when she looks at herself in the mirror, she sees herself as a mess. Nobody wants her. And the only thing she's good for is to be used as a tool, a sexual tool. Then when the girl has gotten to that point, she's dependent on these men. She had her self-worth has been so eroded. Then they put her to work as a prostitute. And the girl makes money for them. She is completely dependent on them now. She can't see a life outside of that lifestyle. That's what the grooming gangs are. It's not just ape gangs. It is a systematic way of degrading white girls in England and turning them into essentially exploiting them and turning them into prostitutes. Because Islam primarily thinks that everyone who is an infidel, every woman who is an infidel is no better than a prostitute. Here's the father of a Pakistani gang, apist, YouTube apist, I said apist, who doesn't see that what his son did was rape. He blames the 13-year-old victim. This is how these people think.
And obviously she wasn't a virgin or new to sex.
So you don't see it as rape?
I don't.
And she's 13. She's 13 years old.
Yes, obviously, that's some responsibility lies for it. But as far as grooming is concerned, I think that the judge has gone over the board, the jury has gone over the board, the police has gone over the board, just because these lads were Asian.
So he's blaming the 13-year-old girl that his son and his friends had been assaulting. If I didn't see these videos, I wouldn't believe it. But they're out there. And most of us didn't see it for years because Twitter and all the other social media platforms kept us from seeing them. Now, to my friends who are Muslim, who might see this live stream later, or you might be watching right now, I'm only showing what is out there, okay? And the facts don't lie. Now, here's Islam's core doctrine that demands total domination of women as second-class property under Sharia. You know those Democrat politicians that claim, we watched Jamie Raskin essentially try to make it sound like if you speak up against Sharia, you're racist. Okay, that guy. He claims that Sharia isn't, it's just a way of life. It's freedom of speech. It's freedom of religion. It doesn't do anything. These guys want to bring Sharia in. And once Sharia comes in, all those woke white women are property. All those feminists that support the idea of Sharia, because they look at immigrant Muslims like pets, like, we're going to save you from the big bad white man. So we're on the right side of history. And then when they get their way and take over things, okay, you find out that you just cuddled a rattlesnake. Islam's core doctrine demands that women are totally dominated as second-class property under Sharia and the entire nations through conquest and submission. Now, here's a real, and most of you are just quiet, like in shock. I told you this was a dark corridor, and the reason why I'm talking about this is that it is totally connected to what's going on in the public schools in the United States, in politics with the Ilhan Omars, Rashida Tlaibs, the Mamdanis, and all the other operatives that you're seeing popping up all across America. There's a voting base and a voting movement that has essentially mushroomed. You have the Antifas, you have the Islamic communities, okay? You have the useful idiots within both communities. You have the Muslims who are like, well, I grew up under Islam, I'm a peaceful person. Doesn't mean that everybody else around you is peaceful. And they're going to vote for anybody simply because they look Muslim or they look woke. Eventually, They are going to outvote the woke people. And then you're going to have to contend with what's going on right now in Europe. So here's what the Islamists think of us.
Quran chapter number 9, verse number 29. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the Muslims to kill the Christians, Jews, and if they do not surrender, then they have to pay jizya. Jizya is basically protection money.
If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we...
I'm going to keep playing this, okay? I just wanted to catch up with the chat. Gardening says there are words to say about that woman, but I keep deleting them before I hit the enter button. Like, I do that in my head. Like, whenever you guys see me pause and look away, I'm trying hard not to say something horrible. Intergalactic Wrangler says it's horrible stuff. These people in charge are traitors. I agree.
Then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take where... Because you refuse, I give you two good options. This is the strength of Islam. In the coming 40, 50 years, when the Muslims become strong, as they're supposed to be, and they are focused and Islamically oriented.
Any slave girls you may own. That is, those who have been captured in war. If a disbelieving woman who's married is captured in war, she becomes permissible for the Muslims after one menstrual cycle has passed, which serves to establish that she is not pregnant.
I don't know. It's okay. Let's keep going. I don't like. They're saying this. It's all over the internet. Yet, the woke left and the ignorant conservatives who think that they can be nice and, coexist with this ideology. Oh, you want to build a mosque in our community. Oh, let's show how tolerant we are. Go to Saudi Arabia and try and build a church. Go to the UAE and try and build a church. They will tolerate you because you're a tourist. You've got a blue passport. You're American. They don't want to mess with America. But once you begin to talk religion, oh no, it's a problem. What has happened to the West and to the United States? What I'm talking about right now is serious. Yes, it's dark and it's painful. People don't want to think about it. If I were, dancing and cussing and, playing different sorts of videos, entertaining videos, maybe we'll have hundreds of people watching. But why are we playing our fiddle while the city burns? Why? And talking about playing our fiddle while the city burns. While a 219-page report was released revealing all of this horror, there was a Stop Islamophobia rally in the UK today. And the crowd is the usual suspects.
Racist scum off our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. When migrants are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight. Racist scum off our streets.
Yeah. They're protecting the people who have been identified as being responsible for assaulting young, white, British girls, some as young as 4 years old. I don't know, like, guys, I don't know what to do now, because usually on the show, there's always an off-ramp, like, all of this craziness and nastiness is happening, but hey, look, we're winning. For the United States, yes, thank God Trump won. Thank God Trump won. Okay? And they're fighting him every step of the way. They're fighting him every step of the way. He just signed a peace deal, and right now on TDSBC, they have talking heads trying to weave a narrative about how this was a defeat for Trump. There are protests, even in Israel, that this was a betrayal. I mean, they can feel that way, but what did they expect the United States to do? Carpet bomb the entire country? I'm just wondering. They're currently trying to make Trump look bad, fighting him every inch of the way. While at ground level, in schools all over the United States and even in North America, our children are being taught to not have an ideology that is rooted in Christian values. They did it in the UK. This happened in the UK. The school system prepared the kids to not have a North Star in Christian values. And then it opened them to immoral practices. And then here come these people grooming them to even degrade and debase themselves even more. This is happening in the United States right now. We're not yet at full-blown grooming gang stage, but it's getting there. Now, the lady we watched earlier, who we lack the words to describe what she is, claimed that there's no evidence. Now, this rally, I'm going to just play this. This rally, reveals that there's evidence that the English police knew about the rape gangs, but were ordered not to act, enabling the horrific crimes against children. The police that gave her those statistics that she was rattling off to discredit the report that was being put in front of her. Yeah, that police was complicit.
My name is Dion Muller. I'm an ex-police officer from Leicestershire Constabulary.
She's an ex-police officer.
During my service, I was awarded several letters of commendation. I received a Chief Constable's Commendation for Outstanding Service and was the recipient of a Bravery Award from the Prime Minister at that time, which I received at number 10 Downing Street. Thank you. I've not come here to speak to you today. I've come here to speak to them. The police officers of this country. On the 19th of October 2018, and I hope you are listening, former Chief Crown Prosecutor Mr. Nazir Afwaz stated in an interview to the BBC Radio 4 that in 2008 the Labour government under Prime Minister Gordon Brown and Home Secretary Jackie Smith sent a circular to all police forces in this country saying that as far as these young girls who are being exploited in towns and cities, we believe that they have made an informed choice about their sexual behaviour.
4-year-old girls made an informed choice about their sexual behavior. 13-year-old girls made an informed choice. Oh, jeez.
And therefore, it is not for you police officers to get involved in. Did you know that? The child victims of rape, torture and trafficking, which ended in sometimes in instances of murder, were purposely ignored.
Oh, we're going to talk about care because something happened in Texas about Godney says that's great. What is crazy is I believe that trans person was the one who organized that, of course, and he believes that if he went to Gaza and said that he'll be welcomed with open arms. Intergalactic Wrangler says, if you're trying to find someone or need to report a missing child, you can find local help and resources through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children or by calling their 24/7 hotline. Yeah, so that thing that we want, please, okay, 1-800-THE-LOST. 1-800-THE-LOST. It is important, okay? Did you say that I'm freezing up? Am I freezing up or are you freezing up? I'm wondering. Okay, let's keep going.
When in reality, allowed British 7 years old to become prey to vicious Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. To be repeatedly raped, to be branded with hot irons, to have their tongue and then to silence their desperate voices with a blanket ban on investigation.
There was a ban on investigation.
Former Home Secretary Jackie Smith is now chairman or chairwoman of a charity formed to support girls at risk of gang violence.
So the person who was in charge when all of this was happening, who signed off on the silencing and essentially the adjustment to policing of these cases, is now running a foundation for those who are victims of gang rape violence. You can't make this up, guys. You can't make it up.
You can't make that up.
She just said that.
In my opinion, Gordon Brown and Jackie Smith
my God.
should be serving life in prison. Since when do the police not investigate the rape, torture and trafficking of children? Since when can underage children make informed choices of sexual?
You know, guys, the combination of this situation with the gangs, the grooming gangs, the violent attacks that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, and the rise in unfettered migration. Something is being engineered. It's almost like they want the conservatives or the citizens to do something stupid so they can point and say, hey, look, we were right. They are the far wing lunatics, can act like animals all they want. No news reporting. Nothing is going to be said. The moment the patriots and the citizens decide, okay, enough is enough. Oh, look, they're being violent. Next, okay, about over 2 months of burning cities, people being killed, businesses being destroyed. Is mostly peaceful, and then a couple of hours of citizens walking through the Capitol. It's an insurrection. Oh my God.
Reported a large group of angry, masked Muslim men who were screaming obscenities and Allahu Akbar into an estate. Video footage clearly shows police officers not reacting to the mob of angry men throwing missiles into a peaceful. Police officers at the scene were not attempting to stop the Muslim men from committing acts of violence against innocent people like you. The violence became so bad that the young children present at the rally were driven away.
All right, so it goes. All right, I'm not sure why that's happening. My feed here, I'm looking at the monitor. It looks okay, unless there's something happening in the background. All right, so essentially, it's her reading the receipts and saying, "Look, I've always talked about the Second Amendment. Okay, the people in Europe and England can't do much. They can't because they don't have their guns. Every time I talk about the Second Amendment, I feel like I'm giving the algorithm ammunition against me to suppress the channel. I just feel like that's what's going on. But we just have to tell the truth, okay? We have to tell the truth. Okay, so I hope it's still smooth. I need to know if the signal is still smooth and, if it stopped buffering and seizing up. Okay, so we need to listen to this British guy, okay? So he says something very important, and he realized that giving up guns was a big mistake. He's British.
One of the things that's become extremely apparent to me after spending a few days here with a group of Americans and other nationalities is how much of a English people are in general when it comes to arms, guns. Through removal of our arms, our right to bear arms, it's caused a big problem for us. And now our government is basically turning into this absolutely tyrannical, feminine leadership that is gradually eroding all of our rights. And there's really not much we can do about it.
Like, I've said it, and most of you know it, okay? Those of you out there who follow me, you know it already. The Second Amendment was created to protect your First Amendment. Europe did not have a First or Second Amendment in the first place. They realized this, and they created a new world where they could protect the rights of the citizens. And they did a great job with the Constitution. Now, these, I was about to call them a name, these leftists want to destroy the Constitution. Okay. Now, so how does this report in America? Of course, there are going to be politicians that talk about it. Brandon Gill had this to say today after the report was released.
To do it now, the Trump administration, I believe, recognizes these basic truths that not all cultures.
Yeah.
You're going to be dealing with it. And you've seen what's happened in the DFW Metroplex, where you've seen mass Islamic migration transforming communities right here in places that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to be going to public schools wearing burqas, and that's the kind of stuff that we want to stop. We want to recognize that our job is to protect and conserve. As conservatives, we should want to conserve the America that we got to grow up in, and you do not do that by bringing in culture.
We're going to power through this and figure this out. We're going to power through this and figure it out. I don't know why. I don't know why it's buffering. Maybe it's all the tabs I have open. I have a bunch of tabs open, so I'm trying to close. We're just going to power through this, and we're going to get through this. Okay. All right. So yeah. So let's finish this statement by Brandon Gill.
Of church and state, the dignity of women, the role of women in public life, who have very different conceptions about how Muslims and non-Muslims interact.
You know,
Good example.
When I hear leftists try to draw a parallel between Christianity and Islam, and the only thing they have to say is, well, what about the Crusades? Okay. Okay, it was them. So it's crazy town, totally crazy town. But again, you know, now when we say that, and guys, just let me know if it's get down a bunch of I've shut down a bunch of tabs. Okay. When you see reports like this, okay, now you would see that reporting like this tries to hide the religious orientation and their race and everything. But when you hear drive-by sulfuric acid attack on 5 women in Jersey City, New Jersey, 2 people on a moped threw acid at a group. It was a targeted attack, disfiguring burns. Where have we heard of acid attacks recently? Iran. Why do they attack women? All I can say, guys, is just wake up, America. Okay? Up. Let's listen to this.
Drove up in a vehicle and threw acid on them. This happened on Wilkinson Avenue. At this point, officials believe it was sulfuric acid that was thrown at the group. Police believe this stemmed from some kind of a dispute that happened earlier in the day. They were taken to the hospital.
So, when you see stuff like this happening, what do you think? Okay, do you think that this is the America you grew up in? Is this the America you grew up in? Okay, this isn't the America I grew up watching. You know, the SAFE Act has been blocked and blocked and blocked by the likes of Chuck Schumer. And here he is. The majority of Americans. majority of Americans want it passed. These clowns are screaming Jim Crow 2.0.
Also reasserted his demand to tie FISA to his radical SAVE Act, which would strip millions of Americans of their voting rights and resurrect the ghost of the Jim Crow South.
It's people like this who guarantee the utter destruction of Western civilization. Okay? The UK did not end up is today with the groom gangs overnight. It started with people like weak-spined politicians, leftist politicians like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the rest of them, Hakeem Jeffries and company, creating the right environment for this. All right. I don't know. I'm really being distracted by the reports of the video lagging and it being blurred. I'm not sure why it's happening tonight. I'm not sure why it's happening tonight. But we're going to just bring not pass so they can cheat again. It is like it is their final time to try, because if it passes, it will be harder to cheat. The Save America Act is like it has been accurately named, okay? Because this will save the country. You have illegal aliens who broke into the country, who are being given the ability to vote by the negligence of blue cities and states, or the complicity of blue cities and states, allowing people to vote. We see it in California. People are voting with gym cards, gym membership cards, driver's licenses, but gym membership cards. All right. I'm looking at the rest of the stories here. And I talked about care, okay? So good news, Texas made a common sense move. In a bombshell move waves across the U.S., Texas Governor Greg Abbott has formally designated the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE, the nation's largest Muslim civil rights organization, as a foreign terrorist organization under Texas state law.
Hi, Julie. There has been a big fight.
Okay, congratulations. If Islam, and I'm not Islamophobic, I'm just calling balls and strikes. If Islam didn't have a disproportionate number of people around bodies and blow themselves up around innocent people, claiming that the sins of America are being visited on them, and they are responsible for numerous violent attacks across the country. In my home country of Nigeria, you've heard of Islamists raiding villages, dragging women out of their huts, assaulting them in front of their husbands, and killing their husbands, and the left wants to
A Muslim community leader, Marwan Maroof, here is soon going to be deported. He's been in ICE custody since September. was denied a lawful permanent resident visa due to his involvement with a foundation that provided material support for Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization.
Okay.
The Council of American Islam will tear Texas's support for Hamas and terror.
So someone who is sympathetic to Hamas and terrorists is a pillar of the community, right?
Abbott nominated the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE as foreign terrorist organizations earlier this month. He said, quote, the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE have long made their goals clear: to forcibly impose Sharia law and establish Islam's mastership of the world. The actions taken by the Muslim Brotherhood and CARE to support terrorism except the leaders together held a press conference urging him to retract his proclamation, calling it defamatory and dangerous.
Yeah, so he said chuck the schmuck, and maybe I need to reset the modem. Well, maybe I'm going to restart the modem. Maybe I'm going to restart the modem later, or the router. Yeah, I'm going to restart later, or I'll just restart the computer. Maybe something is lagging. Maybe I'm running out of memory. You know, I bought this computer saying it might be the router, because I was watching the World Cup with my youngest before I came up to do my final prep for the show, and maybe someone is watching the World Cup downstairs and is hogging the bandwidth. So, guys, so let's have one final conversation. I have a final video, and this is all about suicidal empathy. Okay, I hope this video, I think you're gonna like it.
Meet Jude Walton, a professional social justice bureaucratic activist for the city of Ann Arbor in Michigan. She was raped and murdered by Ricky McCain during his second home invasion of the night. Now meet Nick Golden, an anti-racist anarchist, far-left punk rock concert organizer. He was killed by a Latino who was shooting up an anti-racist a turn for Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth, who famously voted against the Lake and Riley Act, which allows America to detain non-citizens who commit drunk driving, burglary, larceny. Oh, and what's that other one? Oh, that's right. Any crime resulting in death or serious bodily. This ends expected to. Emma was stabbed to death by her illegal alien Latino boyfriend, who ran back to Mexico after he committed the heinous act. Now we find ourselves in this really interesting predicament where the right wants him extradited back into the US so that he can face punishment for his actions, and the left don't want him to come back into the country so he doesn't face punishment for his actions. It's one of their own.
Crazy.
Odd world, isn't it? Finally, meet Jen Angel, an anti-racist, anarchist, prison abolitionist, Antifa-connected, far-left punk rock reporter. And she makes cupcakes too. Angel was robbed in her car by Ishmael Birch, but determined not to let him get away with it, she actually chased after him and got caught in the vehicle car door. Ishmael 50 feet, where her head eventually smashed against the sidewalk and she was put into a medically induced coma and declared dead 3 days later. Are you beginning to notice a pattern with these stories? People are switching off that side of their brain to virtue signal. The side of the brain that tells you, it warns you, that's different, that's scary, that person is acting incorrectly. You've switched this disgusting, evil, inhumane piece of shit.
Now, he's being sarcastic. Have essentially consequences of their suicidal empathy. All right. So I saw this a couple of days back, and I felt, look, this is just exactly what we're concerned about happening.
A real head scratcher. Now, these two quotes from Ocean Motley, Jen Angel's former partner, are some of the most incredibly racist things you'll ever hear, and they don't even realize it. So here's the first one. I don't know if Mr. Birch is involved or not, but he is a very young black man, 19 years old, who was 18 years old on the day because accountability come into play. And why bring up the fact that he's a young black man? Why do that? Well, get ready, because here is my single favorite quote possibly of all time. I don't know what it's like to be black, but I know what it's like to be young and poor and desperate and thinking I need to commit crime. Isn't that just an outstanding quote? That's how the left see black people. They're all poor and desperate, and they can't help but commit crimes. It's in their nature. Why are you mad at them for stabbing people? It's just what they do when they shouldn't be held accountable, even if they're 18. Can you imagine, like, if I said that quote? Even go to do it to another race. I don't know what it's like to be Indian, but I know what it's like to smell like shit. What's the difference? Anyway, the piece of shit murderer got 7 years, and Jen's family's only mildly okay with that. If that was my daughter, I would be fucking living. We know that Jen would not want someone involved with her death, whether complicit or not. Far out. To waste away in prison for decades. You are kidding. This video honestly could have gone for a lot longer, and I'm probably going to make more videos on this topic soon enough, but I know I was laughing and it seemed like I was having a lot of fun, but I'm not. Those people died, and it's not good. And I'm not the same people who cheer and laugh and dance, die.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad. I think they needed help. Somebody needed to help them. And maybe it's because I am a Christian, but I believe Jesus can save everybody, even those that look most lost. And the only reason I sort of found humor before is because I get that.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to play. Let me let it play out. Sorry.
And I think we can all learn from the horrific things that they went through.
Yes. Bandwidth issues aside, and I hope it didn't make this a horrible experience towards the end of the live stream. I've had to cut out several videos so that we don't keep running into the bandwidth limitations. I don't know why this is happening right now. This was a different live stream. I didn't want to do this story this evening. And I said as much this afternoon. I said this is only a smidgen of all that's out there. This is a smidgen of what's out there. There are stories and stories and stories. The suicidal empathy that has been on full display in Europe, that is on full display right now in North America, and regular people like you and me who just want to pay our mortgage, who just want to pay, would love nothing more than to believe that the people who were voted into office are taking care of things. They have one job. They have one job. Keep us safe. Mind their business. You want taxes? Okay, don't, for goodness sake, don't take 60% of my income. Okay, take something reasonable. So I can build wealth and leave an inheritance for my kids. You need to leave an inheritance for my kids. You want to take an inheritance tax on top of that. And then there are some weirdos who want to take the entire thing. Then on top of that, they want to import a different culture of people who know nothing about what it means to be American, who know nothing about what it took for the continent to be conquered, who knew nothing about the sacrifices that were made to carve out a civilization from stone. And then they show up when everything is honky-dory and well, it's upsetting to me repeating these things I've heard over the years. And I've read some bits and pieces on American history. I've studied it because I'm fascinated by how a group gradually carve out a civilization that outmatched the country they came from. How did they do that? They learned from the mistakes of the country they wrote a constitution, a Bill of Rights that was essentially to design a country to not repeat the same mistakes of the country they came from or they fled from. And now these lowlifes in suits and Omars and Rashida Tlaibs and the crazy people in Congress who have no clue what it took to build this country. I am an immigrant. I might never be a citizen of this country. Of the United States, might never be. I have a daughter who is. I might never be one. But I think I love the country as much as any other patriot out there. And I call these things out because we can see what's going on in Europe, what's happened in Europe. Of the things happening during the Biden administration's insane open border years with the apartment building takeovers, the murder of Laken Riley and Nongere and everyone else who's been murdered but hasn't been reported because no one wants to be really sad, So what do we do next? Okay, what do we do next? I heard some good advice from a Texan years ago. He said, pray and vote. Pray for your country and, pray like prayer is the only thing that matters to save your country, and vote like voting is all that matters to save your country. Yeah. For your country. And even if you despise the people in politics and the people who lead you, pray for your leaders. The Bible tells us to pray for our leaders. Even if you can't stand their ideas, pray for them. It will keep your heart from being bitter. It will keep your heart from going dark and becoming like theirs. Because they've rejected God. And that is why when Charlie Kirk gets murdered, they have it in their heart to pick up the phone, turn on the camera, and celebrate the brutal murder of a father, a husband, and friend to thousands or even millions of people. They have it in their heart to do things like that. Why? Because we have to do that in order to keep our hearts soft and kind and malleable. We have to. But we have to be strong as well. We have to decide that we have to resist evil where it shows up. We have to expose evil everywhere it shows up. All right, that's our one job. Okay, if the people in politics don't do their one job, at least let's do ours. And during the next election cycle, pray and vote. Okay, that's my advice. You know, it hit me this evening. I'm sorry that I gave you a piece of it with showing you all of the stuff out there, but I think it's just a fair warning to say this could happen here too. Do what it takes to vote in the right people who have the fear of God, or at least the fear of conservative Christian voters. If they don't fear God, at least let them fear you, knowing that you will vote them out the next turn if they mess up. I want to say thank you to you guys, okay? You guys have stuck with the live stream, with all the buffering and everything else that happened. I appreciate it. We're going to be back tomorrow again, and I think the of an exhaustive conversation around this topic. I hope it was meaningful for you. I'm sorry I didn't mean to just do a dump of all of this, on you, because it can feel that way, like, oh, I transfer it over to the audience. I hope it didn't feel that way. But it's important for us to pay attention. And I think you and I are paying attention. I want to say thank you to Gardening, Intergalactic Wrangler, and the lurkers. We have lurkers. Wings, and don't leave any comments. Guys, please leave a comment. Okay? Leave a comment, leave a chat when you're live with us. It helps with the conversation. And whenever you can, post a comment. It's important. It helps the channel out. It shows YouTube that we have a thriving, supportive community. And YouTube prioritizes channels that have a thriving, supportive community. And but thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Are way over the hour mark. This was a big one. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with too much. I hope I didn't. Tomorrow, I guess, will be lighter. It'll be lighter. We're going to find out what's going to happen tomorrow with the stories that develop, and we're going to just have fun tomorrow. We're going to have fun tomorrow. No matter what happens, by God, we're going to have fun tomorrow. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in spite of the poor connection. Thank you so much for being patient and gracious. I appreciate it. Again, stay safe, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Okay. So until tomorrow, thanks and God bless you, and see you on the next one. Bye-bye.